When a customer comes in and they want to rent the computer, the first thing you want to ask them is how much time do they think they need. Make sure to explain to them that we have two different options. We can rent per the minute, which is 43 cents a minute, or we can rent in blocks of time of an hour. It's $14 for a block of time for an hour, and that hour block of time can be used for 30 days. They don't have to use it all at once. It's a much better bargain if they rent a block of time for an hour because they can come back as many times as they want to for up to a 30-day period, and it's a better bargain. If they know that they are going to be taking more time or they want to be able to come back over several period of time for up to 30 days, that $14 for a block of time ends up being about 8 cents a minute. So it's a better bargain. So again, if they're not that computer literate, if they know that they want to take their time, try to make sure you sell them a block of time for an hour versus charging them 43 cents a minute or just printing out a per minute code, because that can be very expensive. They'll end up paying about $35 for an hour doing a per minute code versus you giving them $14 for an hour. So make sure you're explaining that so that we don't charge the customers more than what needs to be charged and frustrate them and give them a bad experience. So again, the per minute code, you're just clicking that per minute code. But to create an hour code, you're going to create the per hour code. You're going to type in their first name, their last name, hit submit, explain to them to keep that code with them, and they can use that same code every time they come back. And they don't have to come to the register when they come back. They just sit down, log in, and use that same code every time that they come back. Make sure that you are explaining to them that everything will print back here whenever they do want to print, and that they just need to come back here and ask for that when they do. Whenever somebody is renting on the rental station's computer, keep an eye on them so that they don't print something, come back here and ask for it, and then leave out. If they're on a per minute code, we don't hand anything to them unless they've paid, because they could take that print and then leave out and walk. The per minute code requires them to pay when they're done, so make sure that we don't hand them anything. They should be paying at the register before they leave, and so we should be keeping our eyes on them because it's kind of like an honor system, so we should be keeping our eyes on them before they leave. That per hour code requires them to pay at the time that per hour code is issued, so that's a prepay type of issue, but that per minute code is paying when they're done, so we need to be keeping the eyes on them and being more conscious of where they are and how they're moving in the store so that we're not losing track of them, because they could easily walk out without paying. So we need to be conscious of what's going on in our store. It's also important that we're familiar with how our copy machine here works for the self machine. Even though it is a self-fax copier and scanner, we want to make sure that we know how to use it so that if they do ask for help, we can offer that assistance, because we're still responsible for that machine. It is in our store, and so we should know how to use that. We shouldn't be like, oh, I don't know. So make sure that you guys are all trained on that. You know how to use it. You're familiar with it so that you can offer assistance if needed. If anybody does not know how to use that, please make sure you let your supervisor know so that you can get your proper training on that, because we should be able to offer adequate assistance for that, because anything that's in this service center, and if you're assigned to work in the service center, you should be thoroughly trained. You should be an expert. You're expected to be an expert on how to operate anything here in the service center. The only thing that we do not offer assistance with is the Amazon locker. Everything else in the service center, we are responsible to be thoroughly trained on, offer assistance with, and know how to utilize.